Welcome to the Deep Dive. We sift through stacks of research and articles to bring you the essentials.
Get you informed fast.
Exactly. Maybe with a few surprises, hopefully keep you listening.
Uh-huh.
Today we're tackling something almost every driver faces eventually, and honestly, it can be a real headache. Car insurance claims.
Oh, yeah. Loads of frustration there.
Right. So our mission is to clear up the confusion, help you sidestep those common traps, the ones that get claims denied, delayed, or, well, you just don't get the money you deserve.
It's so true. And what's really striking is how often these mistakes happen. You could be super responsible, think you've got it all covered, but still make a critical error after an accident. Knowing these common slip-ups, it's not just about avoiding stress.
Well-
No, it's really fundamental. Making sure that when something unexpected happens, you're not left feeling, overwhelmed or even worse, shortchanged financially.
That's a huge point because, even if you're careful, you can get caught out.
Absolutely.
So let's jump right in. First, critical mistake people make. This kicks off our deep dive into the top 10 errors.
Okay.
And these are really actionable things you can use. So let's unpack this first one.
Yeah.
All right, mistake number 1. Seems basic, but it trips so many people up. Delaying that call to the insurance company, not filing the claim quickly.
Yeah, and you might think, well, what's the rush? But speed matters a lot here.
Oh, so?
Okay, crucial detail. Most insurers, they have pretty strict reporting windows. We're talking typically 24 to 72 hours.
That's fast.
It is. And if you wait too long, it's not just like, a little inconvenient. Your claim could get denied. Flat out.
Wow.
But it's actually more than just the deadline. Waiting lets evidence sort of disappear, memories fade.
Okay.
And, the insurer might even use the delay to suggest maybe the accident wasn't that serious. Or, even worse, that maybe you're adding details later.
Okay. So pro tip.
Pro tip, as soon as it's safe, obviously, call your insurer. Or use their app, even if you're not totally sure you want to make a claim yet, just get that initial report filed.
Get it on record. Okay. So it's about meeting the deadline, yes, but also preserving the integrity of the claim.
Exactly.
Got it. So you make that report. What's next? Well, this leads to mistake number 2, something else that gets skipped surprisingly often.
Yeah.
Not calling the police. Why is this so vital? Even for what seems like a minor fender bender.
It sounds simple, but the impact is huge. Basically, without an official police report, you're kind of stuck in a your word against theirs situation. If there's no, objective third-party paperwork, no formal record of what happened, who was where, the insurance company, they'll find it really difficult to side with you, especially if the other driver disputes things later.
That makes total sense. No official record, you're fighting uphill.
Totally.
Okay, which brings us neatly to another big one, something that can totally change the claim's direction. Mistake number 3, admitting fault.
Oh, this is a big one.
Even if you think, oh man, that was totally my bad, why do you need to bite your tongue?
Well, it's just human nature, isn't it? You want to apologize, especially when things are tense after an accident.
Yeah, sure.
But here's the thing. Saying sorry, or it was my fault, it can be taken as admitting legal liability.
Oh.
What people often don't realize is it's not your job to figure out who's at fault. That's for the insurance adjusters, maybe the police, based on the evidence, traffic laws.
Okay.
Your job, stay calm, collect facts, don't guess or speculate, just let the professionals sort out the fault part. Don't volunteer anything that could legally hurt your case.
That's a tough instinct to fight, I bet. Saying sorry feels natural.
It really does, but super important here.
Okay, and speaking of collecting facts.
Yeah.
Mistake number 4 is failing to properly document the scene. You mentioned evidence disappearing. Visuals are key, right?
Absolutely key.
So what exactly should people be documenting?
More is definitely better. Take photos, lots of photos, of everything.
Like what specifically?
Damaged all the cars involved, obviously. License plates. But also, zoom out. Get the wider scene. Street signs, traffic lights, the intersection layout.
Weather conditions too.
Yes. Weather conditions, road conditions. Look for things like tire marks, any debris on the road, where the cars ended up, anything that tells the story of what happened.
Gotcha.
And here's a really good tip, something easy to overlook in the moment.
Okay.
Grab your phone, record a quick voice memo, or even a short video. Just talk through what you saw, what happened right then and there while it's completely fresh.
Oh, that's smart.
Yeah, it captures details you might forget hours or days later when the adrenaline's worn off and you're less stressed.
Yeah, I can definitely see myself forgetting key details later. Okay, moving on. Mistake number 5, not knowing your own insurance coverage.
This is a huge blind spot.
Right. So many people just assume, oh, I'm covered for everything.
And that assumption, it can be incredibly expensive when reality hits.
How so?
Yeah.
Beyond the deductible, what else?
Well, okay, your deductible is one thing, but do you know your rental car limits? A lot of policies might only give you, say, $25 for $30 a day.
Which gets you basically nothing these days.
Exactly. Barely covers a tiny compact car. Or, another big one, does your policy pay actual cash value or replacement cost if your car is totaled?
What's the difference?
It can mean thousands of dollars difference. Actual cash value is the appreciated value. Replacement cost is closer to what you'd need to buy a similar newish car. Huge gap sometimes.
Wow. Okay.
So the critical takeaway here is you need to actually read your policy. Or at least, glance at the declarations page once a year before you need it.
Before the accident happens.
Yes. Understand what's actually in there. Knowing your coverage means knowing your options. And honestly, it helps manage your expectations about what the payout might be.
That's probably the biggest shot for people, finding out coverage isn't what they thought it was, right when they need it most.
Precisely.
Okay, mistake number 6. Using unapproved repair shops.
Oh,
That temptation.
yeah.
That cheaper place down the road, right?
It's a classic pull, yeah. Save a few bucks.
What?
But here's where it gets really tricky. If you use a shop that your insurer hasn't approved, or you don't get authorization before the work starts,
Let me guess. They might not pay.
they might not reimburse you at all. Zero. Insurance companies often have these networks of preferred shops
Why?
because they have agreements on pricing, maybe quality standards, specific repair methods they want used.
Ah.
So the essential advice, always check first. Is this shop in network? If not, can I get prior approval to use them? It's usually just a quick call.
A call that could save you from a massive, unexpected bill.
Absolutely. Huge potential cost if you skip that step.
Okay, number 7. This one might surprise people. Accepting the first settlement offer. I think many assume that's just the offer. End of story.
Yeah, and they don't realize negotiation's even on the table.
So why wouldn't the insurance company just offer the fair amount right away?
Well, let's connect this to the bigger picture, right? Insurance companies, they're businesses.
Okay. Profit motive.
Exactly. So that first offer, it's often, let's be honest, the lowest amount they feel they can legally offer and see if you'll take it. They're testing the waters.
So what should you do?
Don't just take it. Ask for a detailed breakdown. How did they arrive at that number? Then do your own homework. What are current repair costs? What's the actual market value for your car in your area right now?
Get your own quotes, maybe.
Yes, get your own quotes. Look up comparable vehicles for sale. Then go back and actively negotiate that payout. You actually have more power here than most people think.
That's really empowering to know. Don't just roll over.
Definitely not.
Okay, mistake number 8. This touches on something I imagine is tempting, especially if you're feeling angry or frustrated. Lying or exaggerating. Thinking, I'll just add those few scratches from last year, get that fixed too. Or maybe making up a neck injury that isn't really there.
Okay, this comes with a very, very strong warning. Don't do it. That's fraud. Simple as that.
And the consequences.
They are severe. And honestly, just not worth the risk. It can range from your entire claim being denied, leaving you paying for everything yourself,
Ouch.
all the way up to potential criminal charges, fines, even jail time in serious cases. Insurance companies have entire departments, sophisticated systems dedicated to finding fraud.
They're looking for it.
They are absolutely looking for it. And even if you think you get away with it, it can leave a permanent black mark on your insurance record, meaning crazy high rates for years and years.
Okay, message received. Short-term gain is definitely not worth the long-term, potentially criminal pain.
Not even close.
All right, mistake number 9. This one feels simple, but again, easily overlooked in the chaos. Not keeping receipts.
It seems so basic, right, but it's incredibly crucial.
For what kind of things?
Anything you pay for out of pocket because of the accident, towing fees, keep the receipt.
Oh.
Uber or Lyft rides while your car's being fixed. Receipt. Rental car costs. Receipt. Medical copays. Prescription costs related to an injury. Receipts, receipts, receipts.
Digital copies best.
Oh yeah, scan them, take photos, whatever. Just keep proof. Because without that proof of payment, your insurer, they have a zero obligation to reimburse you.
It really is that simple then.
It truly is. No receipt, no reimbursement. People forget in the stress, but it's just non-negotiable if you want that money back.
Another small detail with potentially big financial consequences. Okay, finally, mistake number 10. Canceling your policy right after an accident. I can see why someone might panic. Maybe they're worried their rates will skyrocket, or they just want to run away from the whole situation.
It's understandable, that feeling. But what many folks don't realize is that trying to switch insurers or just canceling your policy right after you've filed a claim, that sends up a massive red flag to other insurance companies.
A red flag. How?
It basically signals you might be a higher risk, or maybe, worse, that you're trying to hide something about the accident or the claim. It just looks unstable or reactive.
And the result is?
The result is almost inevitably much, much higher rates when you try to get new coverage somewhere else. Insurers really don't like that pattern.
So the advice is?
Stick with your current insurer through the whole claim process. Get everything settled and closed out. Then, once the dust has settled, feel free to shop around for better rates if you want to, but don't jump ship mid-claim.
Okay, that makes sense. Weather the storm first.
Right.
So we've hit the top 10 pitfalls. But before we wrap this deep dive, you mentioned some bonus strategies. Things that maybe aren't huge mistakes, but are still vital for keeping things smooth.
Yeah, just a few extra quick hitters that can make a difference. First one, practical tip. Don't wait too long to get the repairs done.
Why is that?
Well, if you let existing damage just sit there, maybe it gets worse, rust develops, or something else happens. Your insurer could argue that the additional damage isn't related to the original accident.
Ah, okay. Get it fixed promptly once the claim is approved.
Exactly.
What else?
Another key thing. Always be honest. We covered that with the fraud point. But also, remember not to overshare unnecessary details with the adjuster.
Meaning?
Stick to the facts of the accident, answer their questions directly, but don't speculate, don't offer opinions on who was at fault, don't volunteer extra information that isn't relevant. Keep it concise.
Got it. Factual, not conversational.
Pretty much. Also, super practical. Keep a digital copy of your insurance card and maybe your policy declarations page easily accessible.
On your phone. Cloud storage.
Yeah, exactly. You never know when you'll need that info instantly after an accident. Having it right there means less fumbling around when you're already stressed.
Good one. And a golden rule for anything official.
Always, always, always read what you're signing before you sign it. Seems obvious, but people rush. Make sure you understand exactly what that document says, what you're agreeing to.
Especially settlement releases, I imagine.
Especially those. And maybe one final, crucial perspective shift to keep in mind.
Okay.
Remember who the adjuster works for. They work for the insurance company.
Not for me.
Not for you. They might be friendly, they might seem helpful, and often they are. But their primary job is to protect the company's financial interests. Settle the claim efficiently for them.
So approach those interactions with a clear head.
Yeah, a clear head, almost like a business interaction. Understand their role. It helps you advocate for yourself more effectively.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground. What's the big takeaway here for you, the listener? Look, accidents, they happen. It's an unfortunate part of driving, part of life. And that's exactly why we have insurance, right? It's meant to be that safety net, to protect us financially when things go wrong.
But here's the kicker. If you stumble through the claims process, make these kinds of mistakes we talked about, you basically end up losing twice.
How so?
Well, once in the accident itself, the damage, the injury, the hassle, and then again, by not actually getting the full benefit of the coverage you've been paying for, maybe for years.
It's like paying for that fire extinguisher, as you said, but then not knowing how to pull the pin when there's a fire.
Exactly like that. You paid for the protection, but you fumbled using it.
And the financial hit from these mistakes, it's not trivial.
Oh, not at all.
Even just one slip-up, like accepting that first lowball offer, or not getting reimbursed for out-of-pocket costs, that can easily cost you hundreds, maybe even thousands of dollars.
Definitely thousands in some cases.
So we really hope you take these tips to heart. Think of them not just as interesting facts, but as like your practical defense manual against these common pitfalls. Make sure you get what you're actually owed.
Yeah. And maybe here's a final thought to chew on. In a world that feels increasingly complex, sometimes overwhelming, how much of our financial security, especially after a sudden shock like an accident, really comes down to not just knowing what to do, but maybe more importantly, knowing what not to do.
Avoiding the unforced errors.
Exactly. It's a compelling thing to think about, isn't it? We hope this deep dive gives you the confidence to navigate that process should you ever need to.